Yeah, it should be on adventure. Alright. I gotta wait till people join. Oh, I got one person. I don't want to spoil the big prize for everyone. How long this took me. Took me forever. I'm hoping that took you like 4 hours. Oh no, it took longer. It took longer than that. I gotta wait until people actually join to actually show them the big picture. This is that right there is just the minuscule version. That's like a statue of it. The real thing is over there. It's big as hell. I have to go on 2 versions of Minecraft to create this. 2 versions. That's how crazy this is. Because Bedrock mechanics are kind of messy. So all I could do was like the inside and the tower and stuff, yeah. It almost took me all night. That's how big this thing was. Like I went to bed at like 7 or 8, maybe 9. Not only that, I also had to do I had to write these down. So that also took a lot. That also took a couple of hours. I was doing a live stream for like last night and stuff. I was actually kind of like freaking out. I actually had chills. Like there was something in this world that was actually like inside the carrier itself that was like haunting me or something. I was like, I had a strange feeling that something is not right. I feel like something is watching me. So I had to like turn off the mic and like listen to some like YouTube, so like I don't feel alone. It's creepy as hell. I bet Hero Brian is like seeing the construction of like a warship and he's like, what the hell? Who the hell is building a warship in my own world? This is criminal. I shall ban this player. I felt like that's what he would have said. Gotta wait for what? Why is like nobody like online? Like, come on, dude. Kind Mantis is kind of like a jerk. so I'm not gonna invite him. But you want to see the full warship before everyone else sees it? It's crazy. This thing is absolutely gigantic. It is the biggest aircraft carrier I've ever made. This is just like how far am I from this? Like if I was in person. Well, you're seeing the construction of it. You're seeing like the full view of it. Now, when people do join, they can see like the history of this and stuff too. Like this legitimately took hours. That's mainly because I had to do the inside. The inside took me longer. Because, you know, if people are gonna be inside of it, I guess I would have to do like everything in it. This thing was 214 meters long. You know how crazy that is? That's the longest it has ever been. So I've, okay, yeah, mixed it up in there. What I put... Well, actually... One would have been... the standard displacement. Dude, I wish it was real. If my country was real, I would totally go over there. He has the armor, propulsion, coordination. Yeah, you know, this is not. This is actually. This is what actually. This is actually my own warship. It's not real, but it's part of a actual fictional like world. Also, what I didn't notice that there's a ravine right here. So one of like the supports for this like bridge goes all the way down. Uh-oh. So like yeah, I did put some ladders near the anti-air guns or the AA guns, so that if someone like, well, like, you know, falls off, they could get back up. But yeah, I built this right here. But I was like, you know what? What if I do this? So I was like, you know what? It's a pretty good idea. Pretty good. This thing carries like 20 aircraft. It's not that big compared to like most aircraft carriers. Like I think most aircraft carriers back in the day carry like at least like 80 or 60. And this one shows like these are actually like modified like battle planes. which is what the Anarians called warplanes, like they called them battle planes. They're basically just civilian planes with like modified attachments to them, like machine guns and stuff. But there's like 4 different variants of that same exact aircraft that both the Navy and the Air Force has. We got some computers, some more and stuff. I legitimately like decorated the insides and stuff too, so yeah. We got the inside. Over here is like the communications room where you have all of the where you have maps of like the area where you're at and stuff, like the battlefield. It's pretty cool. Yeah, this is what it looks like before I put in all the aircraft and all of this and stuff. So this is what it looks like before I added more to it. And then we got the captain's quarter. We got this area. We control the ship and stuff. I mean, this thing took me a while actually. It took me like a good minute. We got up here. Now I was gonna put anti-aircraft guns on top of here, but I decided not to. But I was like, it's gotta look weird. But, you know, that's how it is. Alright. Do you know what's funny about this aircraft carrier that I seemingly created? This is the most unique way to carry aircraft from one point to another. It could easily take off too. So you're kind of wondering, where the hell is the elevator? And you're thinking to yourself, is it in what? Is it in over here? Is it over here or something? Like, where is it? All right, we gotta go. Like, is that what you're thinking? Like, is it right here, or is it somewhere else, or is it like hidden on the side or something? Like, where could the elevator possibly be to carry the aircraft from under the deck up to the flight deck? Like, what is your mind thinking about? Like, is there no elevator? Is there an elevator? Feels like there's a teleporter. I don't know. Well, we go all the way to the back of the ship. All the way back. And you see this open and you're like, what is this? Bada bing, bada boom, we got the elevator. You have to back up to this elevator and it'll carry you up here. Where you can easily, like, you know, take off and stuff without having to worry about other elevators being down. It's literally like a, it's the most interesting thing. Alright, now we're under the deck. We got 6 more aircraft. We got some bombs. We got some barrels. There's the color variations. So the red that you'll see on most aircraft are red. Well, we're red and stuff. Which are like fighters. Yellow is like bombers. Blue is scouting. And then green is like trainers. Like trainer aircraft. Like people, like aircraft that are like for training will have like green color on them. Now we go over here. Over here we got some private quarters for those who are like the commanding, like admirals, lieutenants, and yeah, and even the captain. And over here is the kitchen. Well, not the kitchen, but the cafeteria. And then we got the actual kitchen. Going over here, we have a hallway. This leads to one of the anti-air guns. These three areas lead to these, like, I guess like quarter barracks or something. Having personal space as a sailor was sort of like a luxury. We go on to over here. We got another anti-aircraft gun stationed. Over here we got the bathrooms. Pretty nice, pretty spacious. And we got a bigger area where sailors would sleep. And there's another hallway, but this leads to a twin anti-aircraft station. And then there is like the storage for like the food and all that other stuff, and like ammunition. But yeah, right here is also where like the ammunition and stuff is also stored for the aircraft. I don't know why, but I can hear like cave sounds whenever I'm in this aircraft or in this aircraft carrier. Like I can literally hear cave sounds. I don't know why. But yeah, there's TNT, like basically like the gunpowder and stuff. Other storage items. Yeah, it's one of the cave sounds they introduced. This is the full, like, view of the aircraft carrier. What's funny is that instead of having gray coloring for the hull, it's white. Then we go. There's the Anarian flag. It's basically like an upside down, like Russian flag. That's what's the funniest thing about this. That's basically like a flipped Russian flag. thoughts about this? I think the largest aircraft carrier I've made before was 165 meters. Or blocks, if you want to say it that way. It was a much more like modern-esque carrier with like missile systems in place. And more like a modern machine, like more modern anti-air guns and stuff. And it has an armored deck instead of like a wooden deck. The yellow that's displayed on here basically indicates the warship is decommissioned, meaning that it's not operational. It's a pretty smart way until you realize that once the paint fades over time, you're really gonna need to repaint it over and over again once it like gets to that point of like, what's the point of even painting it again? But it's just gonna fade away. So what are your like thoughts about this warship? Like, you got any questions, any specific things? Like anything that's specific? Because hell, I would love to answer them if you got any questions. I mean, you can ask me a lot of things. Because I have everything thought out in my head, sort of. Like, I can answer whatever you, like, want to ask about this warship. Like, if you want to ask, like, the purpose, why was it created? Why was it created? Because this ship was built during the time that Anaria was under the German control still. Like, Anaria has now fully gone to like the Soviet Union until like till 1947. And Anaria has stuck with like Nazi Germany, the German Empire and the Prussia and stuff for like the 1800s to like the 1940s. Anaria did not really actually become independent until like the Soviet Union collapsed, which started a civil war because the Soviets fell and the Anarians were like, we have no one to support us. Who's gonna help us? And so they just started killing each other because there was like nobody to actually really help them, to supply food, weapons, and all that other stuff. I mean, Anaria between 1947 and 1991 was sort of hell-bent on having Russia support them at all costs, even if it means Anaria gets destroyed by if there was ever a nuclear war. Like, it's the funniest thing ever But ever since Anaria was actually like occupied by the Chinese dynasty, Anaria has never become the same. Before it was a endless empire, before it just collapsed for no reason. Like on the exact day of the New Year's, every single territory just disappeared. All the land from South Asia all the way to like the Middle East and like Northern Asia where Russia is was completely gone. Every single city, town disappeared with no trace. Like the entirety of the Anarian Empire, the third, was completely just gone, which created a hole where the Chinese could easily just take over, because the Anarians quite literally overthrown their king because they literally lost so much land for no reason too. Like the land that they conquered transformed back into its original state. Like there was actually no trace. Like it literally just gone, vanished, evaporated. Everything around it was transformed back into its original state. Like how, like it had never been touched before. Like it's crazy and scary. How scary that is. Like you wake up the next morning and everything that your kingdom or your empire has conquered was completely gone. Like there was nothing left besides your island that was like untouched. It was crazy. And I mean, honestly, the Anarians believe in the Anarian Bible, which is basically like a more realistic view on how Anarians view the creation of everything. The Anarian Bible is the reason why Anarians exist. But yet, people in the reality of that world that Anarians live in don't believe that the Anarians were created by gods to serve a war that lasted for millions of years between the plague and the gods. Or theoretically, the White Castle versus the plague. Like it is, like no one believes them because they think Anarians are crazy and they think Christianity or other religions are better than theirs, because the way Anarian Bible plants it out, it sounds more realistic than any other Bible. And yet Anarians feel like that they're just like the lower beings, that they were supposed to be protecting the human race from the West. Like the Bible, like the Anarian Bible predicts, well, the goddess of time predicts a nuclear war between the West and the East by the year the 2020s or the 2030s. And the Anarians try to warn basically everyone that if Russia nukes Ukraine, it's gonna start a war. It's gonna start a nuclear war that would actually cause the Anarian Bible to be real. Like every other Bible predicts like a cosmic event, but no, Anarian Bible predicts actual world events. Like the rise of Nazi power between the 1930s and 1940s. Anarians predicted it, but no one believed them. They predicted the rise of like the Roman Empire and like the fall of like the Macedonians. They predicted the rise and fall of dinosaurs between the Jurassic period and stuff, but yet no one believes them. Like they've been around longer than humans, mainly because they were stuck in the White Castle forever. The gods only allowed them to stay on the Persian Empire. The Anarians, when the goddess of time is the reason why Anarians understand everything. The designer united MB Nuts. Oh hey my man! Welcome to the live stream. Thank you for subscribing. Since you joined the live stream, you're gonna be on the community, well not the community, but you're gonna be on the what's it called again? Subscribers and comments list of people. Your channel is gonna be featured. I always love how like new people always join my live streams. I feel like live streams are the perfect place for people to come, because I get to interact with you guys instead of making videos. I still need to finish. I have a bucket list. Hang on, where is it? I have it in the community post. It's a bucket list of like everything I need to do. I still need to complete Far Cry 4. Number of wood up. I have 229 subscribers. That's crazy. But yeah, as I was saying, like the Anarians knew of what is gonna fall, what's gonna rise up. Like they predicted that the Russian Empire was actually gonna fall. What's crazy is that the Anarians actually like praise the Russian Empire. Hell, even a German Empire, for example. Like, depending on how empires would treat Anarians, Anarians would actually be nice to the people. It would actually, like, praise for them to come back. Like, Anarians are, like, the people of Anaria are on an island. I mean, they're in the South Pacific. Oh, no, they're in, like, the Oceania region. That's basically it. I'm surprised Mike hasn't came yet. I would have thought he would have actually joined the live stream. You know, I went every single step of detail to try to do this. So what's crazy about Anarians is that since the Anarian Bible basically tells them everything that's gonna happen, Anarian has plans ahead of time, like with the construction of like aircraft carriers, because Anarian knew that the #1 country that's gonna be the most powerful with naval warfare was gonna be the United States. And the Anarians are like, let's plan these things ahead, but you know what? It took them a couple more decades to even build one. I mean, they did build a couple. Like, they actually did build, like, 2 during, like, World War I. But in actual reality, they were only, like, testers. So, like, they weren't actual functional aircraft carriers yet. Until, like, the mid 1920s. So, like, a decade or so later, they finally had a functional aircraft carrier. Another thing that's crazy though is like the battle planes that both the Air Force and the Navy uses are like pure white. They use these aircraft until like the 1990s, where after the Civil War, the first one, and Hawaiians were like, we've been using these for like almost like an entire century. We should upgrade. And so they I mean, the first Anarian Civil War was so deadly. It's crazy. But hey, at least this aircraft carrier was recommissioned to serve the socialist, because it was in the I don't know what region was it that it was commissioned. It was in the south. It was in the south region. It's crazy. You got any other questions you want me to ask? Or want me to answer? Because, you know, I feel free to, like, answer any questions. Either about Anaria or about the warship. so why would they so what's the craziest thing about the Anarian history was that Anarians did not come from Earth. Well, actually, Earth wasn't the actual name of the planet. The gods actually had a name for the planet. And I forgot which one it is. We'll go to the Anarian Bible to actually find this thing. There we go, the Anarian Bible. Now, I think what Anarians like post Empire Anarians thought was like the gods looked at Anarians and thought they were too powerful enough, and so they sort of just snapped. I mean, there's a bunch of gods in the White Castle, and there's a bunch of them. And there's at least like 200,000 to be estimated. I have to like skip through some of these. Yeah, you know it's crazy. Too many to count. Ah, the Earth was named Vincala. Vincala. That was the actual name of the Earth. But us humans were like, that's too complicated. Let's name it Earth. Well, I mean, humans don't really actually know how many gods there are. And that's what the Anarian Bible proceeds to allow themselves to introduce themselves. Like, there's actually two gods of life. There's the goddess of life and there's the god of life. The goddess of life focuses on animals, creatures, and bugs, while the god of life focuses on humans. So you have two different types of gods of life, but they focus on two different species of like creatures. One human and one like animals, bugs, and stuff like that. Like ever since the invention of nuclear war, there's a god that calls himself the god of nuclear war, or whatever it's called. Like he's the definition of nuclear radiation. Like he was like created, sort of like Godzilla, but he's a literal god that controls nuclear warfare. Like I think I could find him in this like Anarian Bible. Yeah, it does sound kind of crazy. Like Anarians call demons the plague. There's also political gods and goddesses as well. Like there's the god of communism. Like, during the Cold War, every single god who has a political trait, like democracy, republic, socialism, anarchism, and communism, etc., all went to this table to discuss their political differences, which is called the political table dinner, which was in 1950. Like, it was actually like the craziest event ever. Now there's an actual like there's a plagueis, which is basically like the plague, which are like these like commanding gods, which are like these like demon like gods that command the plague void. And there's an actual like plague, like the plagueis, and there's a plagueis called the planet. It's literally a living planet. Like, hang on, I gotta see. I don't think there's actually. Yeah, there's like barely any information about the planet. But the planet that everyone says is not a planet is Pluto. Pluto is the plagueis planet. Or he calls himself Butor. That's literally his name, Butor. Butor, or whatever, however you spell it. But he calls himself that. Well, everyone calls him that in the realm and all that other stuff. But yeah, he's basically just a massive planet that's been around for 802 million years. For 802 million years. Like, he's literally just a giant planet that literally has been in like stasis forever. There's a plagueis of the black hole theory, which is basically, which you have heard about the biggest black hole in the universe. That's the plague. That's the entity. He is literally a giant black hole. That's what's so scary about it. Like, he's literally a black hole. Like, these plagues, which are like demons, have way more interesting factors to them than just regular appearances. Like, They're actually like, yeah, he is literally a super massive black hole that just travels around the universe. Okay, it's not it, it's a he. I mean, you call me it, but I mean, he's more like a he. There's an entity called that, thing. There's also the Plagueis of Machine, which he has the power to literally control any technology and turn it against you. Which could be real, because from what I've heard, AI could go rogue, and who could be controlling them? Like, I was bringing us a bucket of water. Yeah, the fifth trial. And Anarians would have to fight a second war again. But this time, it's much more powerful. There's also the Plagueis of Rusted. He has a sword that he literally stabs into you. Your organs and your like muscle and stuff will literally like rust and literally disintegrate. Like you're literally becoming like Ironhide from Transformers: Dark of the Moon, when he got shot by the rusted cannon from Sentinel Prime. Like you're literally just becoming Ironhide and just rusting, just disintegrated on the floor. Like once he stabs you, there is no coming back. Sounds extremely uncomfortable for that's actually how it is. If you ever want to know why Anarians would fear to fight another war again, it's because they saw their brethrens die because they were killed by Rustin. Like, you thought that being disintegrated by acid was bad? No. You're literally gonna get stabbed by a magical sword. I mean magical. That turns anything into a rust-like material. Like, it's scary. That is, like, so crazy. Ever wondered, what's hell like in Anaria? Like, if you die, like, if you become a bad person and you die, where, like, is there a hell? And there is a hell, but it's so massively different. Like, the Plagueis realm is like black. It's like pitch black. Well, sort of pitch black. You can still see stuff around you. The ground is like purple, which illuminates like a purple like glow. So you're walking around in like a void where like the ground is purple. But around you are like cities. Or like, well, basically like kingdoms. Like medieval style buildings. These medieval style buildings is where the plague lives in. Like, they act like people. Like, they have like their own like rules and all that other stuff. Like, the Bible in Anaria is massively so different that people would think that this is all fake. Because people will believe that. Also, one of the scariest and most disgusting plague entity is the Plagueis of Flesh. Let that sink in for you and have a thought of what that would be like. Because the description is not very good. And during the fourth Great Plague Trial, Anarians had to endure that sort of fear when they were fighting against the Plagueis. Well, the plague. When the gods sent them to war and stuff to fight them. Like, this entity can manipulate flesh from mortal to immortal beings. So even if you could live forever, your flesh could still be like manipulated to be literally hell for you. Like, it could change the shape of your flesh, could rip it off your body, could also distort your entire figuration, like your body and stuff. Like, it will also like make the flesh tear off your skin, making only the bones and muscle appear. Like, it's terrifying. It could also create holes. That's the way it's crazy. It could actually make you have that phobia of like holes. Like, do you think that's actually like scary? Knowing that if there's an actual entity that can manipulate your own flesh. Like, that's actually like disgusting and terrifying. Knowing that no matter where you are, no matter where you go, you're not even gonna be safe. got any other questions you want to ask? Or is your mindset asphyxiated on whether or not you have any other questions? I mean, there's an entity that's called I am stalking you in full capital letters. Like, he is literally just in there to stalk you, to freak you out. Like, it doesn't matter where you go, he just stalks you. And, like, he will scream between 2 and 7 p.m. So, like, if you're outside in a day, his screams are distorted sheep sounds mixed with crow sounds at a 150 decibel. But if you ignore him, like if you physically ignore him, he will kill you because you're not fearing him. If you ignore him, he's gonna kill you. That's the whole part of him trying to scare you. That's the whole part of making you paranoid, is to make sure that if you ignore him, your life is gonna end. But if you have that constant fear of him always being near you, I mean, this dude is like 8 feet and 2 inches tall. Like, he's tall. And he wears the same color scheme as Steve. Blue shirt and purple pants. Like, there is no telling. Just wants attention. I mean, that's the best way to put it. I always wonder, why do people always join and leave? Like, why do you guys join and why do you guys just leave? Like, am I that boring? Like, every time I do a live stream, I see people come on, but then they just leave right after. Like, come on, dude. You're gonna stay or just don't join a live stream. It's kind of weird. Ooh, very spooky. Spooky cave sounds. It's like I think a 14-year service of this warship. But you got like any questions? Like, so the entire reason why I built this world was to show you guys, well, something that is not real, but it's like fictional. I wish people would actually join it. But like nobody wants to. Like I literally wasted so much hours just to do this. Like I wasted all of my sleep. The flag is the most interesting thing about this entire thing. Like you see this and you're like, I'm gonna get myself something to drink, but I'm still gonna like, you know, I'm gonna text and chat. Like I'm still gonna be on the live stream. It's just that I'm gonna be like on my phone, so I can hang on. It's not. It's not even like. It's not even like my baby. Like it's. Like we have like a person that's like staying with us. Yeah, there we go. I joined the live stream. Alright, I'm back from the sweet adventure. It actually tastes pretty good, actually. I took a sip, and you know what? It actually tastes pretty good. It has a creamy aftertaste. So it's kind of like you're drinking like ice cream, like a Coca-Cola flavored ice cream with like a little bit of like carrot, with a little bit of like a creamy aftertaste, like a sweetness of it. No, since I'm doing a live stream, I might as well do something else. Hang on. Let's see here. It's gonna take a while. Oh no, the copyright music. No, turn it off. Ah! Audio. Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. Phew. Copyright music annihilated. Hopefully. R.I.P. The classic Minecraft music just got obliterated. Wait, what was I here for? Oh yeah, I don't know if I have a, I don't know if I have any packs actually. Hang on. Chain skin. I have this. I forgot about you. Oh yeah, I have the Egyptian. Oh yeah, I also did Christmas. And the Greek, okay. I could actually go to these worlds. I forgot about that. Hey, which world do you want to go on? Was that for, was the old Minecraft has a bunch of these. Such a classic. What's funny is that I'm starting to actually play like Skyrim. Like I've explored some bit. Mike, you're back! Yay! We got two people now who could actually talk. Oh, Mike! I don't really know, lol. Oh, I can tell. Okay, Mike. I got something special to show you. You can already see it by the dove nail. I've been pretty good, bro. I've been pretty good. Stayed up the entirety of the night, suffering. because I was building a huge project. I gotta load in. Ever heard of Coca-Cola mixed with half and half? Like you have a Coca-Cola and you have half and half. You pour it into the Coca-Cola. You have that milky, sweet aftertaste to it. It's like tasting ice cream. It's like you poured ice cream into a cup of Coca-Cola. Well, mine is zero Coca-Cola, but yeah. It tastes so good. Okay, so Mike. Since he just got on. Okay, you see this? Okay, yeah. It is actually so. This is still pretty cool. So like a Coca-Cola float, basically, but without ice cream. It just has half and half. Like there's no ice cream added to it. So Mike, you like this model I built? See how cool it is? I know Tingo has already saw it. Alright. Get to have your eyes amazed. Oh wait, you should have joined the world actually. Hang on. Are you able to join actually? Hang on. Wait, are you online? Oh no, I don't think you are. Hang on. Hey, I'm loading. Because I want you to actually see it in the actual game. So that it looks cool. Uh-oh. Did something happen? We'll see if I could like invite you. Alright, I said an invite. Alright, GT. Oh. Oh man. I was kind of hoping that you would like stay a little bit longer, so I could so you see the big picture. Hey Tingo, are you still there? What time are you like? Oh, no, never mind. You left. I was gonna say that if yes, Tom. I don't know if you could tell me like what time he's available. Because then I can start my live stream when he's actually like available. So that I'm not like guessing off my like head. But yeah, when I was building this, I was gonna have help from people, like actually have people to help me. But instead, I did it all by myself because no one else joined. Why don't I just invite these people? What's kind of funny about this is that this spawn point, I have no idea where it is. I kinda realized that I have no idea where the spawn point is. So if someone spawned in, there's no way that they're gonna find this. Unless they purposely go in a direction where they could actually find this. You know, I kind of realized something actually. I do have a PS5. We do have another TV. What if an account could join this server? Could join this one? I just now realized that. Like, you know what's crazy about this build? Was that I completely underestimated the size of this. I originally had a thought of like, okay, this is only gonna be like 150 meters, because why else would you need a big aircraft carrier if you're only gonna build like 3 of them or something like that? I was like, I completely underestimate the size. Completely underestimated it. Oh hey, have you seen my DarkElixirClash special channel? I don't know if you have. It's where I post clips of like the funniest moments in there. Uh, I posted like 2 videos on it. The one that says I should have placed Windows first, and the second one is the funniest. I named it The Moth Awakens. Like the Force Awakens, but instead it's The Moth Awakens. It's a funny Star Wars reference. It's a funny Star Wars reference. I do wonder what this looks like if it's in the dark. You know, I love. You know, I would actually love a death message where, like, if you could control a warship and you just ran over someone in Minecraft, it just says so and so was killed fleeing a warship. Like a funny like message. Hey, do you like the text at the bottom of the live stream? Like it has a text on there. The water sound is so satisfying. What's so? Oh yeah, when I was doing this world on 4J Studios, I made sure that there was no structures that spawned. So that's why there's like no villages or pillager outposts or monuments or anything like that. Because I made sure that there was no distractions. Or that would also mean that the stronghold is removed. Makes sense, yeah. What I need to actually figure out is how I'm going to build a destroyer. Because it needs to be small. And the actual, like, beam would have to be, like, small. Like, smaller than this, like, between 15 to at least, like, 10 meters. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna take so much, like, figuring out what's the size. Like, how would you classify a destroyer in Minecraft? Because this is a carrier. You can obviously guess. It's an obvious, like, decision. But a destroyer, a light cruiser, a heavy cruiser, a battle cruiser, well, what the hell are you gonna do? Okay, a battle cruiser could be literally the same exact thing as a battleship. So we could classify those two as, like, somewhat the same. But a heavy cruiser and a light cruiser would have to be different. Would have to be weirdly classified. Because in the real world, during like World War I and II, it makes a lot of sense that ships would be like smaller as the classes go down, like from a carrier all the way down to torpedo boat. But how the hell do you make torpedoes? If, well, you know, blocks. You'll have to make the deck torpedoes, which are going to be huge. Unless somehow you could do your weird magic. But like an aircraft carrier, a battleship, a battle cruiser are like demonstrations of, yeah, you could build big ships. But smaller warships to like the player size, like this one right here, like the player size like vessel, would need a lot of complications because, you know, the inside, you gotta build the inside of the ship like a cafeteria and everything. Like, it's the reason why I created the well, it's the reason why I added the hangar all the way in the back of the ship, so I could be able to have room to add the other stuff in. But you know, it could also be part of the actual thing of why Anarians first created these things. But ooh, I can actually see what this actually looks like when it's nighttime. I mean, it would probably look dark because there was like no lights installed except for like the tower and the inside, but the outside was like completely pitch black. The funniest thing though is that the Anarians put in like this light mechanic that's actually pretty smart. You know what the light mechanic is? That they put on later warships of like carriers and stuff. So I know this was like one of the first designed functional carriers. Later versions had a system where it's actually pretty cool. Like this type of carrier is more like a day operational at a daytime period. So if it's like daytime, this could actually functionally operate. But if it's at nighttime, the pilots won't be able to see like the deck. Because like you can't really see. Like, you want to know what type of system they put on this? Well, on the later versions, where, like, you know, I'm actually gonna just say it. So, After they decommissioned the last ship, so after they decommissioned this, later ships had this light system where on the runway, like on this runway right here, like you see that goes all the way along across the ship, they put in lights where during operational periods, like if it's during nighttime, when the pilots take off and stuff, they turn off the lights so that the enemy cannot see them, and then they'll turn them back on when the pilots need to refuel and rearm their aircraft. And then once that's done, they'll take off again, turn off the lights, and wait until the plane comes back. It's a very smart tactic. They used that during like World War II and like during the Cold War against U.S. allies like Australia and New Zealand, where they turn off the lights of aircraft carriers, and because during this period, between 1940 to 1970, Anaria had, well, still used wooden decks, which are weaker compared to like armored decks. So the only real way to avoid detection and to make sure that your aircraft carrier is still operational is by turning off the lights when the aircraft takes off, and to turn them back on when the aircraft needs to refuel and stuff. But since the armored deck was like made and missile systems were in place, that sort of tactic sort of faded away because there was no use for it, because they had missile systems to protect them from incoming missiles or aircraft. The Anarians had some common sense when it comes to knowing how to like use aircraft carriers if the aircraft carrier was like alone, and they actually had some common sense of how to deal with issues with that, because Anarians would usually have aircraft carriers alone if the aircraft carrier was doing a loosely based mission where you just destroy whatever it is and you head back home. So that's why with the whole tactic of turning off your lights and then turning it back on when the aircraft arrives to refuel and stuff becomes a popular choice among aircraft carrier fleets that were just made up of aircraft carriers and nothing more. Because they don't want to get their decks on fire and destroyed, because if they, well, get seen, then yeah, it's not really a good choice to go on a mission that you would probably die in if you didn't know how to operate a carrier functionally. Anarians were pretty smart during like the 1940s and like 70s. Like, Anarians were like the first, well, not the first, but they were like the second Axis country to have aircraft carriers, and still have them today without them being sunk like the Japanese carriers did. Like, Anaria still kept their aircraft carriers in prestige even after World War II. Like, yes, some of them were sunk, but Anarians were still able to keep the original ship intact and still functional. Like if there's still one aircraft carrier of that same class, like this one right here, they would keep it in storage until the war ends. And then they'll bring that ship out as a museum. So that after the war, people would see that, oh yeah, this is like the warship this is like the class of warships that they had when fighting like the Allies and stuff. Like, they were pretty smart of keeping their warships alive. They weren't like pumping out, and they weren't like idiots. Like they were actually like pretty smart in doing that, because they want to keep history alive. Like they want to not destroy stuff that was built 100 years ago, but that stuff that was built was destroyed, so they could not build it anymore because the materials of it were gone a long time ago. I mean, you kind of get it, right? Like, it's another reason why Anaria builds so many warships before a war starts. Because they're like, if we're gonna go to war, we gotta have enough warships to keep only one alive, or at least a couple alive, so then they could be like as museums instead of being sunken underwater, like an aquarium, as the motto once said. I mean, Anaria has a bunch of classes of aircraft carriers. This was just like the second class. The Cambridge class was like the 1940s of aircraft carriers that Anaria possessed. But you think it's pretty cool? You think it's pretty cool how they had a certain way of dealing with like not being detected and stuff, or whatever it's called. But, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fascinating too. Hey Tingo, you still there? Kinda quiet. Loss. Hey, what's up, man? Welcome to the live stream, man. I have 231 subs. That's a lot. What do you distract? I mean, honestly, if you were a captain of an aircraft carrier, like, would you actually do the same? Like, if you want to keep your air carrier alive, would you want to, like, turn the lights off? So that when the aircraft takes off, you could turn all the lights off, so you're not, like, detectable. And then once the aircraft needs refueling and stuff, you could turn them back on. Like, it's... The hell is happening over there? Well, I mean, that's why... I mean, yeah. But I mean, this aircraft carrier was meant for, like, daytime operations. Because it had none of the features present in the newer classes of warships. The Cambridge class definitely had those features. It was definitely one of those carriers that would go both night and day operations. Which is the reason why the Allies feared the Cambridge class, was because quite literally, you'd be just strolling through the night. All of a sudden you hear dive bombers literally bombarding your like fleet. And then once that's like quiet again, they come back for a second round and you don't even know where it is. Like you don't even know where. Like even if you're like a scout, like a pilot, that's like scouting, it would probably be hard as hell to see an aircraft carrier at night. So I mean, like, I'm definitely gonna do a document on this warship so that people could, well, because I'm gonna definitely do a documentary about this warship on YouTube and stuff. Have a full document of everything about it, and then have a live stream all about it, and then the successors that came after, like the Cambridge class, the Victory class, etc. And then like the tactics that were used during these periods that Anaria had aircraft carriers. There were a couple of flaws with this aircraft carrier design. Like, there was actually some things that were missing. Like, when they were actually building this warship, the Navy wanted to put in extra air defenses because the front side was the only thing that's like that only has like anti-aircraft guns, but due to like budget, they had to resort to only having a few aircraft, well, a few anti-aircraft stationed on the sides. They were gonna put them on the flight deck, like specifically like over here and two over here. But I also have some at the back too. But due to budget restraints, it was sort of like and it got cut down a bit, which was the reason why it was limited by the treaty, which only allowed the aircraft carrier to have a maximum of 38 thousand metric tons compared to the warship size of 50, because aircraft carriers were still new and Anarians wanted to balance out the power by shortening the well, by further restraining aircraft carriers. So that's why it has more aircraft than it has anti-aircraft guns. Aircraft carriers were allowed to go over 100 meters, but they have to be a lighter warship. Basically as light as a battle cruiser or a fast battleship. Some communications were like not put in. So like there was a rangefinder, a radar, a radio, but there wasn't no like sonar or hydraulics added. It had a balance. I mean, the anti-torpedo protection was also restrained, so it could only have Mark II compared to like the Mark V, or compared to like the Mark IV and III, like other warships. It had to be classified as a light carrier. They did allow the warships to be fast. "20 knots was pretty fast because usually warships would be like 18 to 19, but 20 was actually pretty fast during its time. Well, when Anaria first created these aircraft carriers, they only built like 3 because of the regulations and the limitations of like the treaty. So Anaria was only allowed to build like 3 of them, and not like a bunch of them. The crew was cut down to like 80. It was supposed to be like 100, but he had to cut it down to like 80. But I am gonna cut the live stream though. If you're still watching, dude, I hope you have a good night. And get some sleep too. But anyways, Clash on, my man.